Welcome to Aging in Place Strategies and Answers with Linda Prio. Will it be possible to remain in my home as I age? Do I feel safe in my home? How do I figure out how much support I will need when my health needs start to change? What if I decide to move into a community instead? Which community will meet my needs now and in the future? Who will play a role in helping me with decision making? Do you ask yourself these same questions? Aging in Place Strategies and Answers can help you gain practical knowledge that will help you create your own Aging in Place roadmap. If you are already a care partner, a power of attorney, or in crisis mode with your Aging in Place strategy, you will learn what you need to know that you don't know. For over 20 years, I have been marketing Aging in Place services to clients and educating families and healthcare professionals in how to put aging in place strategies into place. When you utilize aging in place, you are allowed to choose where you want to live and make those decisions so that you can retain your quality of life. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Aging in Place Strategies and Answers. And if you knew me personally, you would know that I always have lifestyle and exercise and good diet on my mind. But I admit that I fail, and I admit that I can do better. And I will readily admit that I don't often challenge myself enough. But today, it's so important for us to talk about lifestyle medicine. And that may be a term that you have not heard me mention before because I didn't know anything about lifestyle medicine. However, I do know that nutrition and exercise, as well as managing stress and being in solid social and personal relationships, really can affect who you are and can affect your ability to fight off chronic diseases. So I want you to be listening today, and throughout the time we're together, I hope you feel my passion for this and how I might be challenging you to think differently. So don't get off this podcast. Do not push stop. Don't find somebody else to listen to. But I think your mother was on to something. I know that you have heard the expression, you are what you eat. And your mother, like mine, probably told you to eat your vegetables. And when you did, she knew that you would have a healthy diet and that you would be able to perform at your best at school. So today, come to find out, there really is something about your health, performing at your optimal level. There is really a correlation between eating your fruits and your vegetables that can improve your brain function and potentially protect you from developing Alzheimer's disease. I joke with my friends and associates that in becoming a more mature individual, I have gained a new appreciation for informative talk radio. So while driving home from work, I tuned in to my new drive time station to find out the news, the traffic, and the weather. And boy, was I lucky to turn my radio on at just the right time. Sarah Lovegreen, Vice President of Programs for the Alzheimer's Association in St. Louis, was being interviewed and was talking about the effect nutrition plays in dementia. So that got my attention. In the interview, Sarah was reporting on research that had been cited at this year's Alzheimer's International Conference. The annual conference took place in Philadelphia, and although the meeting location changes each year, the purpose of the conference does not. Each year at this conference, representatives from the Alzheimer's Association all over the world gather to hear the latest in research and how that research is helping to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and hopefully reduce the number of people being diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia. The research findings presented at this conference this year showed a direct correlation between processed red meat and an increased risk for dementia. For those of us who need more understanding of what processed red meat is, here you go. Red meat is any meat that's dark red before cooking, such as beef, lamb, pork, veal, venison, and goat. Processed red meat is any red meat that has been preserved through salting, curing, smoking, or adding chemical preservatives to make it taste better or last longer. And this includes ham, bacon, corned beef, sausage, salami, chorizo, hot dogs, and deli meats. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Are you looking for resources on senior living? Check out guideforseniorliving.com for our free online senior resource guide to find senior housing, care, and community connections. Start searching now at guide number 4, seniorliving.com. That's guideforseniorliving.com to find the contact information for senior housing, care, and community connections.
Now let's return to the podcast. Another study that was presented at conference was from 2022, and it was done by Natalia Goncalves and Claudia Sumoto from the University of São Paulo in Brazil. And the research confirmed what many of us know, but personally speaking, I allow these items to creep back into my diet and sometimes on a weekly or daily basis. The study found that people who consume the highest amount of ultra-processed foods have a 28% faster decline in cognitive scores, including memory, verbal fluency, and the ability to plan and execute goals. That is compared to those with a lower consumption of ultra-processed foods. So what are these ultra-processed foods that taste so delicious and we can't live without them and we put them into our carts? Well, many types of food can be considered processed, such as cheese, pasta sauce, and canned vegetables. But food that is ultra processed is packed with additives like fats, sugars, artificial flavors, stabilizers, and has been subjected to multiple processing methods to transform taste, texture, or appearance. Sumoto says that ultra-processed foods contain little or no whole foods like vegetables, fruits, and meat. Foods in the ultra-processed category typically include flavorings, colorings, emulsifiers, and other cosmetic additives, she says. Ultra-processed foods eaten by participants in the study included white bread, cookies, mayonnaise, flavored yogurt, margarine, sausage, hamburgers, ham, salami, hot dogs, instant noodles, candy bars, chocolate, cereal bars, frozen meals, and soda. So listeners, see what I mean? These are things we all throw into our carts, yours truly included. But the study found that consuming more than 20% of your daily calories from ultra-processed food had an impact on your cognition. So, wrapping up our conversation, Sarah said to me that how we fuel our body really matters and that our brains are really greedy consumers. So, if we offer our bodies and our brains a low quality fuel, we will experience a low quality benefit. And she went on to say that including non-meat options such as beans, legumes, and nuts have proven to show a protective effect and a potential 20% reduction in the risk of developing Alzheimer's. As we completed our time together, she said, "It is never too late to start new eating patterns and develop healthier habits." And she and I both agreed that we could do better with our own fuel or food choices. You know, listeners, in almost every group setting I am in, whether it is professionally or personally, people always share that they know someone with dementia. It could be a friend, could be a family member, could be a coworker. And I believe that it would be fair to say that most of us are very concerned with the risk of developing or being diagnosed with dementia as we age. However, what about cancer and the other chronic diseases? Are we okay with them? Well, the other day I walked into the house from work and a doctor was being interviewed on TV. And the interview was about the health benefits of a better diet and how lifestyle changes that include exercise could help fight your risk of getting cancer. And at the end of the interview, he said, "You know, it is really up to you." Well, Sarah had gotten my attention, and so did the doctor's TV interview. So I decided to take a deep dive into a book that was on my bookshelf to read this summer. The name of the book is Undo It: How Simple Lifestyle Changes Can Reverse Most Chronic Diseases, and it is written by someone whose name you might recognize and who has a great reputation in this area. His name is Dr. Dean Ornish, but this book was also co-written by his wife, Anne. If you could gain a protective benefit from a better lifestyle and diet, or you could undo or reverse a chronic disease, would you be interested? Well, in the book, Ornish validates that most physicians receive almost no training in nutrition or exercise, and even less in how to manage stress. He writes that lifestyle medicine, that term that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, something that I have not heard before, but that he uses in his book, writes that lifestyle medicine is the most exciting movement today in health and healing, a revolutionary tidal wave that hasn't yet even begun to crest. You see it everywhere, and I can validate that because everything I'm hearing is pointing to this same principle: lifestyle medicine. So, after 40 years of research conducted in this area, there is now a growing awareness of the power of simple lifestyle changes to prevent and reverse the progression of the most common chronic disease, often without drugs or surgery, and the only side effects you're going to have are good ones. However, Dr. Dean Ornish also learned a hard lesson on Medicare reimbursement and sustainable programming. So he has spent the last 16 years working with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to obtain Medicare reimbursement for their program that will help reverse heart disease and other chronic diseases. And here is the great news, he writes. Instead of a 10-minute doctor appointment, you could gain 72 hours of training in lifestyle medicine. Your physician would be the quarterback and provide the oversight for the lifestyle interventions being incorporated into the plan of care. Classes would include exercise, stress management, support groups, and nutritional education. Dr. Ornish and his wife do not use the word diet, but lifestyle medicine because they know, and you know, and I know that a diet means a short period of time. In the book, Dr. Ornish recounts the journey of a physician who had been given a very, very bleak prognosis following heart attack and heart surgery. And this doctor had nothing to lose. And so he went on the 9-week lifestyle medicine program and regained his life. That doctor said the hardest work is between your heart and your mind, only 18 inches. Is that getting your attention like it got mine? Now, a word from our sponsor.
The Neptune Society is the oldest and largest cremation service in the United States. For over 50 years, the Neptune Society has been proud to provide signature service to the families they've served. With a pre-arranged funeral plan, you can declare what you want done at the time of your passing, pay for it in advance, and not leave your survivors with the cost of your final arrangements. Call 314-266-2898. That's 314-266-2898.
Let's return to the podcast. Sarah Lovegreen mentioned to me, she said, Linda, if you confine your grocery shopping to the perimeter of the store, you will probably be making better fuel choices for your body and for your brain. And I told her, I said that I had heard that before. And after I gave it some thought, I thought, you know what? Probably save some money too. In the middle of the store is where all those foods lurk that I love to put in my cart. Now, listeners, that is food for thought. And in the show notes, I will put the links to the studies mentioned, and you can get Dr. Dean Ornish's book at your local library or purchase it. In addition to research and reducing the risk of getting Alzheimer's, advocacy and support groups are a huge part of the work done by the Alzheimer's Association. Do you have a story or experience that would make you a good dementia advocate? Would you like to learn more about the advocacy or support being offered by the Alzheimer's Association or become an advocate yourself? You can do a quick internet search and find your local chapter. But listeners, I want you to look for and listen to my interview with Amy Wheeler, and she is a local advocate for the Alzheimer's Association who went to Washington, D.C. to advocate on behalf of those diagnosed with Alzheimer's and their care partners. Amy's Aunt Linda became an advocate care partner when her husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and Amy is continuing that work, so you are not going to want to miss it. Listeners, at the end of every podcast, I always leave a caregiver tip, and I want you to give yourself a break when you need it from food prep. I want you to notice what your store has available in foods that would be easy for you to grab and have available when you don't have the mental strength or the ability to put a meal, a healthy meal, together. You can also grab healthy prepped food in the freezer section at the grocery store. And I am sure that Dr. Ornish does not get anything from this plug, but he did recommend Amy's frozen foods as a possible choice if you're looking for something quick and healthy, or maybe even something to take to work that you can heat up. You can also do a search on the internet to see what kind of healthy, already prepared meals are available that could be delivered to your home. But please, please take good care of yourself and remember what we've learned today, that putting good food in equals good results. And you are a care partner for someone who has a disease process going on. So they need healthy food too. But remember this too. You are worth it. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for joining me today. Please remember that this podcast is intended as guidance and not advice. Share this podcast with friends and family who are currently in crisis mode, or with people who would like to start developing their own roadmap for aging in place. Listeners, if you would like a deeper dive into a topic discussed during a podcast, please subscribe to Aging in Place Strategies and Answers, where you will be able to access premium content. Or if you would like to suggest a topic for this podcast, please contact me at linda.agingstrategies@gmail.com. As always, I value the time you spend with me.